What's up YouTube? Jeff back again from dopetechdaily.com, and today I'm bringing you guys a quick 24-hour impressions video on the Apple HomePod. Now I wasn't even sure I was going to pick one of these up, but yesterday everybody was getting them, and I already have so many different smart speakers. I figured I'd pick it up mainly to compare it to the Google Home Max, which Google sent me out in December. Really love the Google Home Max, so I wanted to see how Apple's speaker compared. I'm going to do a full comparison video on that, but today I want to talk about 5 annoying things, 5 problems that I found with the HomePod in using it in 24 hours. Now I want to say right up front that the sound quality on this is actually pretty amazing. You guys heard it right there in the intro, and I'll play it again really quick for you. The sound quality is not the problem at all with the Apple HomePod. The Apple HomePod has great sound quality, and actually for certain type of music it might be better than the Google Home Max. But there are 5 issues I've found. I want to talk about those today. The very first issue with the Apple HomePod, and perhaps the most annoying thing, is the lack of Bluetooth support. So you have to play this over Apple's AirPlay functionality. So if you're playing some music from the web, or no matter where you're playing it from, you can open it up here from the quick settings, and then right here you can choose to use AirPlay to cast it to your Apple HomePod. And you can see here I've named my Apple HomePod Living Room. That's where I'm going to store it at the end of the day. But unlike an Android device where you can just use it with any Google Home or any Amazon Alexa device, you cannot do that with the HomePod. You can't just play music from any service like Spotify, etc. using Bluetooth, which is a little annoying. That also leads to the other problem here with not being able to have that Bluetooth support, and that is that you do need to use Apple Music. So if you're not using Apple Music as your main service, there's really no point in even getting the Apple HomePod, as you're pretty much locked into that ecosystem. Now obviously that's Apple's plan. You got to even have an iOS device, for instance like the iPhone 10, to even set up the HomePod and then have Apple Music. That way they're getting all of your money for all these services and also all of this hardware. But it's definitely kind of an annoying situation when you're a consumer, and there are other smart speakers out there that have that functionality. The next thing is Siri is not very smart. So compared to a lot of the other smart speakers out there, Siri cannot do a number of things. For instance, both Google Home Max, any of the Google Home devices and the Amazon devices can look up recipes online. So we asked Siri, hey Siri, can you look up some recipes for beef stew?
I can't get the answer to that on HomePod.
As you can see, she cannot look up any recipes for me online for beef stew. Also, I could ask for instance, travel arrangements. Hey Siri, can you look up some airfare prices for me?
Sorry, I can't search the web here.
So as you can see, Siri has a lot of limitations with what she can and can't do in terms of web searches, even some basic things that you would see very possible on the Google Home devices and also Amazon's Echo suite of devices. So that's definitely a concern. Obviously, Siri is going to get better as Apple collects some data from people who use the HomePod. So, over time that might improve, but it's certainly a concern at launch because there are other products out there that have those features. The next thing is the lack of useful features. For instance, playing media on Apple TV and making phone calls. So for instance, we can ask, hey Siri, can you place a phone call for me?
I wish I could, but I can't help you make calls on HomePod.
Another, annoying and an upsetting response. You can't even place phone calls, which is very basic functionality, something that you would really hope to get for a smart speaker that costs $350. Also, hey Siri, can you play Netflix on the living room TV?
Okay, playing Netflix, featuring Friggy by 2 Chainz.
Hey Siri, stop. Hey Siri, stop. You can see right there that she thought that I wanted to play a song, but she can't actually play Netflix, YouTube, or anything over Apple TV. So you can't even use AirPlay to watch media that you might want to consume on your television. That's something that Google Home can do with a great efficiency using Chromecast. So that's definitely a downside and something that Apple needs to do, because obviously if they want to integrate with all of their hardware services, then they need to also have Apple TV integrated as well. The next thing is security issues due to lack of voice recognition by HomePod. So HomePod actually can't tell the difference between your voice and someone else's voice, which means if your phone is connected to Wi-Fi like my iPhone 10 is right now, and someone else is in your house, they can just ask to read your text messages in with their voice, and it doesn't know that it's not you. So I can just change my voice and say, "Hey Siri, Read my text messages.
You have a new message from Nicole Joyner. We're getting freaky tonight when I get home. Would you like to reply?
No.
Okay.
As you can see right there, my wife is away on vacation, and I had her send me that message on purpose, but obviously a very personal message that I wouldn't want anyone that's at my house to hear, and anyone could just read that text message out loud and get that information. So that's very, very big concern, and something that you don't have a problem with on Google Home, any of the Google Home products, because they can, uniquely match the voice to the person, and then actually get that security clearance before reading out your personal text messages. And then the last thing actually is just a little issue with the actual hardware setup itself, and that's the power cord. The power cord, you got to be careful not to tap the top, it's touch sensitive. The power cord right here is actually built directly into the device, which means you can't remove it. Now, that's kind of a concern because a lot of the other smart speakers, for instance, all of the Echo devices have had third parties build these sort of battery packs where you can carry the speaker around, make it portable, and those are all enabled by the fact that you actually have a plug that can detach and plug in there, so you can get like a portable battery pack, power base, etc. So you're not going to be able to have that functionality for the HomePod. I mean, maybe that's on purpose because it's supposed to be for at home and not for travel, but I think that's a downside, and obviously it's something that the other smart home products offer, and because of this cord being built in, you're not going to be able to see those third-party sort of accessories go along with the HomePod. All right, guys, so that's sort of my overview of everything about HomePod, the 5 things that I found disappointing. Obviously, there are a lot of other things. You've got to lock yourself into Apple's ecosystem. You've got to make sure that you've got Apple Music. You need an Apple device. This is really for hardcore Apple fans, but even so, it's still lacking quite a few services. The actual hardware itself, the aesthetic and everything looks beautiful. As I mentioned on Twitter, it looks better than the Google Home Max in my personal opinion. The top does look kind of cool, the touch-sensitive controls up there at the top, which you guys saw. You can touch here to play the music, and touch there to pause. You've got your up and down volume. It definitely looks nice. The fabric cover is nice feeling, and it's definitely a lot smaller than I thought, so it fits nicely, on an end table or a coffee table or something like that. Hope you guys enjoyed the overview of the Apple HomePod, some of my thoughts. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification icon so I can make future videos like this. You guys can find me at dopetechdaily.com, Google+, Instagram, and Twitter at the links in the description. You can also find me writing at gadgethacks.com, where I'm writing about Android all the time. I really appreciate you guys checking out the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.